What is happening, you all? What's going on, everybody? Tonight is Thursday, May the 13th. Can you believe that? We are already almost halfway through this month of May, which means that we are almost to June, which means we are pretty much halfway through this year. 2021 came in and was just like, bam, just hit the reset on everything and has hit the ground running like I swear it was January yesterday, right? Am I alone in this? It was January like yesterday. Yesterday was January 5th. I took a hiatus for 3 days, and now it's May 13th, which is absolutely absurd. What's going on, y'all? It is so good to be here. And I see that my camera is doing this thing, freezing at like the worst face. That's when the camera freezes, because of course it does. Who do we have? I see there's a few of you here, but only a couple of y'all are talking, but that's all right. I see Angela Lee Rains is here. What's happening, Angela? So good to see you. I see that we've got Angel Monique. What's happening, Angel? Good to have you here. Erica Yolita is here. What's going on? How do? Erica, how do? Good to see you. Kitty Foxy is here as always. Good to see you, Kitty Foxy. I see my boy Steven is in the house. Steven, do us a solid, man. Type in, while you're here with us on Facebook, type in the name and the time of your show and let us know what it is so that I can put it up on the screen here so that we can go ahead and let people know about that. And thank you so much for shouting us out on your show. Steve is a good friend of mine from back in the day, back when I was in Denver, Colorado. He and I met at what I call the fruit stand when I was working for Apple. And it's good to see you. It's good to see you again. And he's got like, I have yet to be able to catch his joint. Soul Monkey Productions, I believe is what it is. And I haven't had a chance to catch it yet. I'm excited about it because I've seen the man's setup and it looks ridiculous. It looks absolutely ridiculous. I see Kamisha Umstead is in the building. What's happening? I see we've got, who is this? We've got Tall Spirit Morris. Hi, Tall Spirit. I think this is your first time, Tall Spirit. Welcome. Good to have you here on the pre-read. Listen, y'all, I want to jump into this real quick because I finally figured out what's wrong with me. Now, before I go into that, and I know some of y'all got jokes. Go ahead and get that out your system. I'll look and see what they are in a minute. But before I go into that, I want to be clear. Finding out what's wrong with you, having the diagnosis, so to speak, doesn't mean that you necessarily have the fix or the cure. And in this particular instance, when I say finally figured out what's wrong with me, I mean, I just like as I was prepping for this episode, just figured out what's wrong with me, what's going on with me. And I don't have the answer. I don't have the solution for it yet. And I'm not looking for one. And I want to say that part because I know that we have a very family vibe here. Everybody kind of talks and shares, and people offer up counsel. I don't want counsel. I'm going to use this platform tonight to just kind of talk through something that I figured out. And maybe in my self-revelation, as I sort of sort it out for myself, maybe it blesses or helps or informs somebody else, and that's cool. I'm not looking for any fixes. I say that gently but firmly. Not looking for any fixes, just talking to you. Can we all vibe with that? Are we cool with that? I hope so. Because here's where it all starts. Some of y'all were here on Tuesday when we read this bomb story, and I mean, like, it was super-de-duper dope. I had to go Barney on it. Super-de-duper. Yes, it was super-de-duper dope. Ooh, I'm close to the mic. That was hot. That super-de-duper was hot. But yeah, it was super-de-duper dope. And in this story, we met a man named Vince who was homeless. And when I say home, I mean he was out there, like in the streets, down and out on his luck. You know, what a lot of us would say had nothing left to lose. You know, his life was from hustle to hustle, from moment to moment, from season to season. You know, I would say from paycheck to paycheck, but brother didn't have a paycheck. He had his hustles. He was an entrepreneur. And one day in his dreams, he encountered Leg Baby. That's the character's name. It's Leg Baby. And some of y'all have done your research and you know your various ancestral religions and faith practices. And you know Leg Baby by a different name from both African and Haitian cultures. But at any rate, he encounters Leg Baby, and Leg Baby changes his life, opens up some doors for him, makes a bunch of things happen. And then Dude feels like he's on top of the world, and shit changes for him. Now, when shit changes, it goes really, really bad, and he finds himself in a precarious life or death situation. And when he's in this precarious life or death situation, um, Leg Baby comes to him again. And I want to read you this part again, because, and this all comes back to me having figured out what's wrong with me. And when, before we shut out of this, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna find Steven's show so we can tell you about Mr. Solutions, Mr. Soul Solutions. So we can talk about that in a minute. But let me take you back to Voodoo Vincent and the Astrostoriograms. Upon waking, Vince felt himself being lifted face up to heaven, his suitcase full of cards resting on his chest. He could see nothing but clouds and blue sky, and it felt almost peaceful till all of a sudden he heard the rough voice of Dirge say the word suicide, and he suddenly felt weightless, the world upside down falling, and then the back alley pavement cement approaching at record speed. Well, this was it, he thought. Till all of a sudden his free fall stopped when his nose was one terrifying foot above the concrete and a familiar raspy little voice comes from midair. Well, well, look who done stumbled into the crossroads. Vince spun around while upside down, clutching his precious old suitcase full of cards, and there, dressed in purple tux and diamond-studded bowler, leaning on a silver and gold cane, was Leg Baby himself. Vince stuttered in surprise. Whoa, what the? I ain't dreaming, fool. And unless you got a way out of here, then just let a brother die in peace. Look, boy, I had slowed down time for just a little bit so we could have this here conversation, but if you don't want to know about the way out of here, then ain't no never mind to me. Leg Baby started to slowly dissolve into thin air like a fine mist. Suddenly, Vince had second thoughts as Leg Baby continued to fade. Please, mister. Wait a minute, mister. Wait a minute. Anything you want. Anything you say. Leg Baby stopped his fade just this side of smoke. Anything, brother. Anything. Just don't leave me here like this. You did say anything, right? Just get me out of here, please. Just let me out of here in one piece alive. But I thought I was just a figment of your imagination, a piece of undigested food, a bad dream. How can little old imaginary me help a real life fool like you? Look, old man, you got me where you want me. I just want to be safe. Look, old man, you got me where you want me. I just want to be safe. From all these here gangsters and all this here head split and fall, just tell me what you wants me to do. Tell me what you need. Leg Baby paused for a minute, then came up close on Vince, leaned down to look him straight into his upside down eyes. You want to be safe, huh? Leg Baby paused for a minute, then came up close on Vince, leaned down to look him straight into his upside down eyes. You want to be safe, huh? I get you rich. I give you the gift. I make you somebody people come to for advice instead of turning their noses up when they pass you on the street. Give you the chance to get richer than all the dreams of avarice. And then I ask you for one simple smallish type thing and you laugh in my face. And now you just want to be safe? I'm going to stop it right there. So I finally figured out what's wrong with me. And for those of you all who are paying attention, and for those of you all who know me, I think you figured it out too. I ain't never been a safe type nigga. Not really. I'm not reckless, but I've never been particularly fastidiously cautious. I had a really good, it was the first time I got a 6-figure gig in advertising. I was working for this agency in Connecticut, and the guy who was my supervisor, even though he was not even the director of the division that I was in, but he was supervising me because, well, he was known to be he was a stickler for discipline. So he would be good to supervise me. I didn't know this dude. Ruddy faced, red faced old Irishman with a lot of, you already know. You already know. I ain't got to finish it for you. Y'all know. Well, and some of you may have heard me tell this story before. Long and the short of it, we had a couple of disagreements about some things. Weren't even job or performance related. But they decided that I needed to be put on disciplinary action. And he and the HR lady marched me into their office to discuss. And at the end of their little presentation, because that's what it was, they slid over a piece of paper for me to sign and said, so everything will be fine. It's really not that serious. We just want you to sign this. And I said, oh, no, that won't be necessary. What do you mean? Oh, well, today's my last day. I ain't having nary another job lined up. I had just gotten into a really expensive apartment in Washington Heights, and that lease was not up. I still had a lot of time left on that lease, but I wasn't going to stay. There was nothing safe about that decision. Now, the faith part of me wants to say, you know, the church boy in me wants to say that I stepped out on faith, but that wasn't it. The safety wasn't that important to me. Doing what was right for me and by the voice within me, that was right for me. So I left. And when I say I left, I mean like I picked up my shit, went back to my office, picked up my personal laptop, and then they wanted to call security, and I reminded them that my laptop was better than theirs. So if they really wanted to check, all you had to do was look for the one that could actually outperform. And I bounced. Yeah. And then, because I am who I am, I gave them 2 days to let my clients know, the clients that I had just won a significant award for, the clients whose product had outperformed its sales significantly when I started on the account. It was Magnum. That client, I gave them 2 days to let that client know, because this agency had a tendency to like to keep perpetrating like the people were still on the account when they weren't. And the thing was, I had such pride in the work that I was doing for Trojan Magnum that I said, nah, I'm not going to let y'all put out subpar work and pretend like I'm still on the account. So I sent goodbye notes individually to all my clients, let them know that I was no longer with the agency. Now, the agency was going to try to hustle and figure out a way to have me do some freelance. But of course, I had shot that down. Of course I did. That wasn't a safe choice either. It was the integrity play for me. Now, they looked at it a little differently. They didn't see it as integrity, but I did. It was the integrity play for me. And, oh, what's up? Okay, I see Rihanna Milcar Scott. I just used that piece of undigested food line story I'm writing. I guess I'm not the only one stealing from Dickens. Yeah, and that's where it was. That's where okay, that's what's up. I'm gonna come back and I see some of the comments here. I'm gonna come back and make some time for that. So anyway, what am I talking about? Well, there's a part of this that is true explicitly for me, but we'll get to that later. I want to talk about all of us. Over the past year or so, we have all of us had reason to become significantly risk averse. Good reason to be risk averse. We were living in literally very perilous times. Now, most of the folk here on the sound of my voice are Black like me. So we're living in particularly perilous times almost all the time. But in addition to police being given broad authority to kill us, and white folk in general feeling that by extension they can expect us to obey an order, and if not, they can similarly take vigilante justice into their own hands, the air had gotten sick of us. All of us, not just black folk. But of course, because of other maladies, infirmities that we have that are all traced back to the social ills that plague this nation and this world, we were disproportionately affected by that. So we had a lot of reason to be risk averse. And now the world is starting to open up. I'm really getting sick of that phrase. I'm really quite sick of that expression. But the CDC just said that if you have been vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask indoors or out under most circumstances. So things are about to change again, for better or for worse. You know, there was a brief little week of a utopic sort of moment where dolphins were showing up in the seas again and the earth started to heal itself. Like we had a brief little moment, but we couldn't let that rest. So for better or for worse, things are going to go back to the way they were. But we'll all have to make choices about whether or not we want to be safe. When I read this story on Tuesday and I got to those lines, something stung in me, but I couldn't quite figure out what it was. But it occurred for me that Leg Baby was so fucking offended that for everything that was before him, for everything that was possible for Vincent, for everything that he had, for everything that he had come from, for everything that he knew to be possible, in that moment, with Leg Baby right there offering him a barter, saying it's something that you can do for me, and I'll give you what you want. You can have the life that you want. And all he wanted was to be safe. And it seemed like even more than being told no, the cowardice of that ask seemed to offend Leg Baby more than being told no, than being laughed at in his face, than having the gift rejected. It was like, you've got all of this. I gave you the gift. I gave you the ability to have wealth beyond your wildest dreams, beyond the dreams of avarice. I gave you that, and you want to be safe? Something stung, but I didn't put the pieces together. I am a gifted motherfucker. I am. I'm a gifted motherfucker. And I have to say that I'm gifted because talented suggests that this is a thing that I developed and cultivated on my own. And while there was some discipline involved in cultivating, I was gifted. That's God. Those things that I excel at, those things that I'm a beast at, God gave me that. I am gifted. And I am being really, really safe. And I think that I've been being so safe that it's gotta piss God off. God doesn't give you extraordinary gifts to do ordinary shit with. God doesn't give you a supernatural light within you for you to snuff it out by doing the natural thing. God doesn't give you dreams of a bigger, brighter, better world for you to just think about them. Risky is one thing. Assured is another. I'm trying to figure out that line between reckless and risky and assured in faith, because I know that I have the resources. And if I figure out how to employ them and give what I'm supposed to give and do what I'm supposed to do and offer what is required of me, that more resources will come. How did I get like this? Because New York me was not a safe nigga at all. At all. New York me did not play anything safe. I mean, even down to like the way that I dress, I made crazy bold choices. Because what the fuck? What's somebody gonna do? Somebody gonna laugh at me? And I wear whatever the fuck I want to wear, walk into $1 million pitch meetings and beast because I could. I made the kind of choices that supervisors and other people in leadership would look at me and be like, okay. But they worked, they paid off. Even when I would fail upward. When did I get so safe? Middle age almost certainly has something to do with it. You become risk averse as you get older. I was involved. I was seeing a young lady that I was seeing was about 9 years my junior. And we would have conversations. And I remember telling her at one point, yeah, I don't move like that. You've got about a decade more time to make mistakes than I do. So you can take those kind of risks. And it didn't even occur to me when I said it, how fucking ridiculous that was to say. It's occurring for me now, but it didn't then. How fucking ridiculous it was to suggest that I somehow know that I have less time on this earth than anybody else. I have no idea how long I'm going to be here. Neither do you. And if 2020 didn't prove anything to us, it proved to us that all of our best laid plans went to shit. And then some of us saw successes and growth in areas that we were not prepared for. I did not expect that I was going to have a twice weekly show. Do you know how fucking camera averse I am? And yeah, here I am doing this 2 times a week, all up in your face. 2 things happened. I took a big chance in a job that I really, really loved. It was a terrible job, but I loved it. Working at Twitter was a terrible job, but it had amazing perks. And having a business card that said Twitter at a certain age in your life with a certain level of swag felt real good. Terrible job, but I loved it. And I took some risks and they did not pay off. And while I was, now I say that, but then some of the risks that I took before Twitter let me go paid off after I was gone. And so I called Twitter up and reminded them that account that y'all landed, that was my work. I fully expect to get my bonus for it. That was a risky move, paid off, because by the time I collected my bonuses, I had the rest of my year's salary. And while I was becoming the great American novelist, while I was sitting there with my stuff in hand, somebody tell me what time it is. Hold up. Alexa, what time is it? It's 9:56 p.m. Okay, so we got a few minutes before we got to go to the next show. While I was sitting there with my stuff in hand, trying to be the great American novelist, my mom had her second stroke and the world changed for me. As a caregiver, I have to be careful. I have to be full of care because care is what I take and care is what I give. And I do that because the person who is under my care, the person for whom I care, the person that I am honoring through this care, can't afford too many risks. And somehow I internalized that instead of a practice, I internalized that as a way of being. And all this safety is killing me. Much like Vincent, all of this safety has me in a state of statuesque paralysis with the artifacts of my dreams surrounding me. That's what's wrong with me. I don't have the solution yet. but I understand, and I'm working on it. I'm not paying any of y'all for this therapy session that you've just helped me walk through. So what I can do is offer you a choice. I have two stories that I flipped through. I was flipping through and I saw this story that was like, what in the entire compendium of fucks is this? It was it was on some next shit. The title of the story is Recovery from a Fall. I only saw a couple of passages and I almost read it because I was like, what is this? I'm trying to figure it out. I didn't read it, but I read enough to know this. It's weird and it's kinky and it's sexual. It's a very risky story. We've had a couple of back-to-back great shows, and this could be one of those reads that could fuck up everything. Or there's a story called The Glass Bottle Trick by Nalo Hopkinson. And we know her. We love Nalo Hopkinson. She is one of our STWJ faves. So I'm going to put the choice to you all. Let me know in the comments in the next few minutes. Do y'all want to play it safe? Or do you want to be risky? If we choose the safe, it's cool. It's just one episode. We got other episodes. Or we're going to be risky. I want to see, let's see, I see a few of you all. Alexa, what time is it? Okay, I got to go. It's 9:59, so we got to catch each other on the flip. I will see what these comments are later, but want to make sure that I shout out my boy Steven. Steven's show. Hold on. He says I do similar unsafe things. Let me go back and find it real quick. You can follow Steven on all social media as Mr. Solutions, including Twitch, which is where he does his show. They're just 4, so you got to follow him, okay? Find my boy Steven at Mr. Soul Solutions. Mr. Soul Solutions. I'm going to get it right. All right, y'all, got to go because I got to flip over to the other side. But we're going to start at the beginning. Everybody make your votes clear. Peace.